After Arsenal's penultimate game of pre-season, losing 2-3 to Villarreal at the Emirates Stadium, pressure is building towards Mikel Arteta. But with 3 weeks left of the transfer window, Andrea Berta also remains active. So today we'll get the breaking news on Rodrygo goes, find out when Arsenal plan to make a move for Eberechi Eze, as well as breaking down what we learned from Arsenal's 2-3 defeat. We'll also get the in-depth breakdown on Viktor Gyökeres' first ever Arsenal start. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Bass14. Welcome back to your boy channel, and I hope you guys are doing sensational. As the start of a brand new season gets closer and closer, this defeat definitely gives us a lot of food for thought. So as per, smash a like on the video if you do enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Help your boy under the 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with what we learned from Arsenal 2, Villarreal 3. Our penultimate game before the start of a brand new season, with the breaking news before the game confirmed by Isan Khan, as Mikel Arteta revealed that Kai Havertz had felt something in training, and therefore not available, but set to be available for our first Premier League game against Manchester United. With no Kai Havertz, the stage was set for the first ever start of Viktor Gyökeres, as Mikel Arteta went for a bit of a weird lineup. A strong back five of Raya, White, Saliba, Kiwior and Lewis Kelly, but the midfield three of Norgard, Marino and Nwaneri, with the front three of Saka, Martinelli and Gyokeres. With so much anticipation going into the game, how was Viktor Gyökeres going to fare in his first ever start? The glimpses were there to be seen in training, warming up before the game with some superb finishes, as well as receiving a fantastic reception from the Arsenal fan base, as his name was announced for the first ever time. But the performance itself was definitely intriguing, dropping a 7.0 rating in his first ever start. 63 minutes played, 1 shot on target and 1 shot blocked, 2 out of 2 dribbles, but just 14 touches and 4 accurate passes all game. The focus after the game was definitely on the touches. Why was Gyökeres not involved? And how could Arsenal get him into the game? But at the same time, as Arsenal fans, it's also very important to understand to finally have a natural focal point. Our first since Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. The role of Gyökeres was never going to be to drop into the build-up phase and get involved. It's all about minimizing touches, with more focus on the effectiveness. Take for example Man City and the adaptation to Erling Haaland, going from the profiles of Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling to a more natural striker whose aim is to be positionally disciplined, show the patience to wait inside the box for his opportunities. That's what Mikel Arteta's plan is for Viktor Gyökeres, as shown perfectly by his heat map. A majority of touches were coming inside the box. But in a game that we also saw a lot of runs in behind, Gyökeres was definitely trying to get involved. But with his Arsenal teammates consistently failing to find him, it's also very important to think about the adaptation, where often it's the case of the new players adapting to their team. This is more of a case of Arsenal adapting to Gyökeres, with their previous strikers being of different profiles, Mikel Merino, Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. All players that are comfortable dropping deeper, but ultimately don't have the goal threat of Erling Haaland. From Miles Lewis Kelly not finding Gyökeres out wide, to Gabriel Martinelli unable to get his header to spot the runs of Gyökeres. When Mikel Arteta was asked after the game, how long will it take players to get used to Gyökeres? Arteta says, I hope just days. He's building connections, he hasn't trained properly in 2 months, and he's only had 5 to 6 sessions. But it's also important not to fall for the narratives, with the majority of rival fans watching Arsenal games now, with the hope of Gyökeres failing as an Arsenal player. As a fan base, not only do we have to give Gyökeres patience, but you also have to understand change is not done overnight. The whole idea of signing a new profile was to give Arsenal different solutions going forwards. In this game, I did see the glimpses, but we were never going to see 100% after just one start. For me, it's very simple. The more the Gyökeres plays for Arsenal as a starter, the more the players will understand how to play with him. But you also have to talk about the performance of Gabriel Martinelli, dropping a 7.1 rating as Arsenal's starting left winger, with 1 assist from a fantastic corner, as well as 3 out of 7 dribbles, 2 key passes and 1 with chance created. A lot of huffing and a lot of puffing, but ultimately too much bark without bite. Martinelli's a player that's always going to try by his natural nature, but at one point you also have to think about quality, as Arsenal are once again up against a compact deep block. Martinelli has shown over time consistently he is not a player that thrives in tight spaces, lacking the same fearlessness of 2022-23. The arrival of Gyökeres actually does help, as we saw in this game on a few occasions. He is a striker comfortable drifting towards the left, allowing Martinelli to come more centrally, where we saw a lot of his goals in 2022-23. But for me, the bigger concern is his 1v1 quality. Despite completing 3 dribbles, when finding himself out wide on the touchline, he wasn't able to cause the same level of chaos over Bukayo Saka. So going into a brand new campaign, where the fullback quality of the Premier League is at a very high standard, whether it was Newcastle, AC Milan or even Tottenham, in all 4 of the games that Gabriel Martinelli has started, ask yourselves the question of, have you seen the quality of a wide forward capable of helping Arsenal win a Premier League title? For me, the left-hand side still leaves a lot to be desired. But you also had a start for Nwaneri, playing as Arsenal's number 10 and dropping a 7.1 rating, 39 touches, 12 accurate passes, 1 key pass, as well as 5 of 9 dribbles, 8 to 15 ground balls won. This was indeed very promising. From showing signs of growth, in terms of the ability to dictate play, but I also saw a player that was far more sturdy, able to receive the ball in tight spaces and drive through, offering Arsenal a different type of number 10. So if the goal for Arsenal this year is to be more direct, thrive in transition and be able to break through teams, the profile of Nwaneri becomes that much more important. Because when compared to the profile of captain Martin Odegaard, who came on and dropped a 7.4 rating, scoring from the penalty spots, as well as 16 accurate passes and 1 key pass, it was a real shame that we didn't see him play alongside Viktor Gyökeres, making the runs in the first half but with no player to find him with through balls. Mikel Arteta now has a very important debate on his table. While Odegaard's profile does offer you a lot more control, when it comes to being a natural number 10 with the idea of scoring goals and getting assists, he leaves a lot to be desired. Nwaneri may be 18 years of age, but having seen him start in 3 separate Arsenal games in pre-season, all of those coming as a number 10, maybe Mikel Arteta is starting to realise, going into the longer term future, the profile of Nwaneri as a number 10 is a lot more suited if Arsenal want to become unstoppable in that final third. Because don't get it twisted, Martin Odegaard is not an awful player. When it comes to being a natural number 8, he has got world-class qualities. But are those qualities what Arsenal need most? Especially when you've got Martin Zubimendi and Declan Rice, the likes of Timber and Lewis Kelly in the build-up phase. It's a major question for Mikel Arteta to answer. You've also got to talk about the Emirates debut for new signing Christian Nwaneri, starting the first half playing as a number 6, from scoring from a set piece to also completing 100% of his passes, to also making 1 interception and winning 2 tackles. Not only was the performance excellent, but we also saw the ability of Nwaneri when it comes to breaking up counterattacks and winning the ball back. To think the signing was only £10 million, the more that I have seen him in pre-season, while he is not going to be an Arsenal starter, the idea of him being a rotation, while also being able to come into games where Arsenal are trying to hold on, that elite ability to win the ball back and help Arsenal sustain pressure, not only is it going to be very important, but you then throw in a set piece quality as well. After thriving at Brentford year after year, today Arsenal fans got a real glimpse of what Odegaard can offer if you find him inside the box from a corner. But if we're going to talk about number 6s, you also have to talk about Martin Zubimendi, making his Emirates debut in the second half and dropping a 7.0 rating, 32 of 32 accurate passes, 1 key pass as well as 2 out of 2 dribbles and 3 ground balls won. As perfectly summarised by the Arsenal commentator Perry Groves, I call Zubimendi the lone shot. He lends you the ball, but always with high interest. The prime example of a player that can thrive in a different environment. His numbers at Sociedad were never that impressive, or the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal after him. When put into this Arsenal environment, we've seen a different level of ball progression. From an incisive pass to Martin Odegaard in the 77th minute, cutting through the lines and getting Arsenal into a very promising position, to being a naturally forward thinker. In all of Zubimendi's Arsenal preseason cameos, the one thing that's clear straight away is Arsenal have got a top player on their hands. And he wasn't the only new signing that thrived in the second half, because you also had Christian Mosquera drop a 6.7 rating, coming on initially as a right back, but then moving into the right centre back, 3 clearances and 1 tackle, 2 ground balls won and 2 aerial balls won, another potential bargain that Arsenal have got on their hands. For many Arsenal fans today, seeing his quality in first hand, you can see the physical potential straight away, as well as showcasing impressive recovery pace. You start to realise very quickly why Valencia fans were so sad of Arsenal signing him for only €20 million. But in a game that you saw the return for Gabriel Magalhaes, he wasn't nowhere near his normal best. But as Mikel Arteta said after the game on Gabriel and Timber, they got some exposure today after 4 to 5 months, which is a long time. So that's great news because we're going to need everybody to raise the level and compete with the quality that we want. But if we're talking about quality, we also have to talk about the cameo of Max, the 15-year-old thriving once again off the bench, playing 28 minutes in his first ever Emirates appearance, dropping a 7.0 rating with 27 touches, 13 accurate passes, 1 key pass, 3 of 8 dribbles completed, as well as winning his second penalty of pre-season. To put into context how insane that is, over the entirety of Arsenal's 2024-25 campaign, we only won 2 penalties all season, but Dowman's a player that simply continues to surprise, defying every single expectation of a player that is still only 15 years of age. The best way to summarise his quality is how much the Arsenal players seem to find him as soon as he arrives onto the pitch. Where often young players are phased out of games, shy to get on the ball because they're scared of losing it, these Arsenal players have a different level of trust of Dowman because they have seen the quality week in week out on training. A 1v1 demon that has insane ball manipulation. When compared to the likes of Saka and Salah, wingers that like to freeze their fullbacks before beating them, Dowman feels more like Lamine Yamal and Riyad Mahrez. Pure talent and flow state. For Mikel Arteta to have now used him 4 times in pre-season, giving him big cameos every single time. Not only were the Arsenal fans amazed after the game, but as confirmed by Mikel Arteta, Max Dowman is due to go on holiday in the coming days, as he's yet to even have a break. But once that holiday is over, the question falls towards Mikel Arteta. With quality that so blatantly hits you in the face, how do you use him in 2025-26? Because in every single cameo of pre-season, Dowman has been a game changer off the bench. But in a game that Arsenal had 57% possession, but only made 2 big chances all game, defensively we were nowhere near our best. All 3 of Villarreal's goals being so avoidable. For many Arsenal fans, a bit of deja vu of last season, constant domination and keeping the ball in the final third without the real punch to get through your opposition. As Mikel Arteta said after the game, our efficiency in the final third has to improve for sure, but a lot of the things that we do in all departments, I think we're in a good place. That pain in the belly after losing game is necessary and is something positive that we can use for Saturday. But with a clear growing sense of unrest growing in the Arsenal fan base, I can totally understand why. Where previous years of preseason have been all about optimism, this year it's been a lot more about pressure. Arsenal fans looking for perfection, different ideas for 2024-25, a year in which our attack was so stale. This game was very much an unwelcome throwback. Game sets that we've seen in the past so many times not go in our favour. At one point something is going to have to give, with Arsenal investing so much in the transfer market. Signing a marquee forward for £55 million, pressure is building towards Mikel Arteta to platform his attack in the right manner. But you also have to add a very important caveat. We are still yet to see our full 11 play together, with Mikel Arteta using players in different halves. Our final game of preseason is around the corner. Atletico Bilbao on Saturday, a chance for Mikel Arteta to finally go for his strongest 11, with match week 1 at Old Trafford being only 10 days away. For me, I am still waiting to see that first 11 play before I make my fair judgments. But moving on to the latest Arsenal news today. In a game that we saw the return of a former Arsenal wide forward, Nicola Pepe was back at the Emirates Stadium. Our former club record signing who posted after the game on his Snapchat, the caption "back at home." Despite getting booed by some Arsenal fans, he scored the opening goal and refused to celebrate. And I can't lie, the boos itself were very weird. For a player that left Arsenal on good terms, but was also a pivotal part of our last trophy win in 2020, I could not understand the boos for the life of me. But in terms of Arsenal and their current wide forwards, this game was also the debut of Nwaneri, coming off the bench playing as a left winger, in 14 minutes getting 9 touches and making 5 accurate passes. I won't say that it was special, but we did see a slightly different profile. A left footer playing on the left hand side, offering Arsenal more natural width. Noni is a very direct player and we've seen the numbers behind the scenes. When compared to Gabriel Martinelli, Madueke on the left is not going to drift as much central. But as Mikel Arteta said after the game, I think Noni, when you ask him, he's very comfortable playing on the right and left. So if we want to play inverted footed players, we can do that. He's a real threat, and I wouldn't want to play up against him. We want to find something else, and playing with natural footed players, he is going to give us that solution. Today you've already seen a couple balls that he put into the box, the pace and quality that he can deliver, so he is a great option. But he's also a player that brings a lot of uncertainty, mainly thriving on the right hand side in his Chelsea career. Madueke on the left hand side is still unproven. For whatever Mikel Arteta sees in his profile, not only is there a lot of room to improve, but you also have to think about Viktor Gyökeres, a striker that naturally likes to drift towards the left hand side. With Martinelli that works very nicely, because he's able to play as a centre forward, offering Arsenal a far better crossing angle. But a lot of Arsenal fans are still very unsure. Is he able to be our starting left winger? And more importantly, can he help us improve to go and win a Premier League title? But in terms of Arsenal and the other wide forwards, in this game there was no Leandro Trossard, left out of the squad after suffering an injury against Tottenham, which is not ideal for Arsenal. After all the reports claiming that Arsenal are open to making a sale, the likes of Borussia Dortmund and teams in Turkey interested. Will they want to spend €30 million on a player who is currently suffering from an injury? In the case of Arsenal, as reports have repeatedly confirmed, even though they're on the market for a player, they may be on the market for a new forward, but the departure of Trossard will be pivotal. For Andrea Berta, the clock is definitely ticking. Only 3 weeks left of the transfer window, with many of our rivals making their moves. Take for example Liverpool. After Fabrizio Romano confirmed the breaking news of Darwin Núñez de Aguilar as a here we go, with Liverpool securing €53 million plus add-ons. The whole idea of selling Núñez to get an Alexander Isak after already making a £120 million offer. Newcastle have said Isak is not for sale until they get a replacement, but after offering €90 million for Benjamin Sesko, it looks like their player is actually going to Manchester United. As confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, Benjamin Sesko to Manchester United is a here we go for a fee of €76.5 million plus 8.5 in add-ons. Add-ons that, as Fabrizio also reveals, will be very easy to reach, as RB Leipzig wanted. So with a total package costing €85 million, Newcastle have missed out on their key Isak replacements, making it that much harder for Liverpool to get Isak, but it looks like they've got their alternatives, because it's now confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, Liverpool are also considering Bradley Barcola as a world-class player, but with no bid or talks at this stage, focus remains on Isak. PSG want to keep Barcola and offer him a new deal, but this is a wide forward that if he is available, for me Arsenal should be all over. With 21 goals and 21 assists last season, after making a whopping 64 appearances, with the majority of games coming on the left-hand side, Barcola is a player with a lot of quality. You can see why PSG want to keep him, but after signing Kvaratskhelia only in January, a player that has now become their starting left forward, it makes you wonder if a team was to make the right offer, would they be open to letting Barcola leave? But in terms of Arsenal, if you are looking for market opportunities, you also could have Everton's Iliman Ndiaye after 11 goals and 37 appearances last season, while also offering a versatile central option. According to Fabrizio Romano, Ndiaye has been offered to Inter Milan. For now, they're the priorities Adam Lukman, and they have not turned to alternatives. But if Everton are offering the player out there, it surely means he's available. One of their star players in 2024-25, but currently making moves for Man City's Jack Grealish. Njai would be a left field option, but for me it's as clear as day. If Arsenal want to end this market in a successful manner, a left-sided player is going to be vital. And according to Gary Jacob, Mikel Arteta still wants to add a direct left winger and potentially a creative midfielder, with a report alongside the reliable Paul Joyce confirming Arsenal plan to approach Crystal Palace about Eberechi Eze, and must wait to see if Rodrygo, a forward, can leave Real Madrid on loan. That's where you've got the breaking news on the Real Madrid wide forward, with reports claiming that Arsenal have held discussions with Real Madrid for a loan plus obligation to buy before Rodrygo goes. His current salary will be shared between the clubs and then be increased next year. Even according to another source that was recently vouched by David Ornstein, Liverpool and Arsenal have both contacted Real Madrid to inquire for Rodrygo on a loan with the obligation to buy in the summer of 2026. The question then falls to two separate parties. Firstly, Real Madrid, and will they be happy with the deal? But also in terms of the player's ambition, is he willing to make a move away for a club that he's no longer a starter at? For Arsenal, their aim is simple. Already one of the best pressing teams in the world, with the arrival of new coach Gabriel Heinze, Arsenal's pressing is definitely improved. But in terms of our ability to make the most out of the situations, as shown by this worrying stats, despite Arsenal forcing 100 more high turnovers than Nottingham Forest last season, we actually scored 4 field goals off them, with a total of 335 high turnovers forced last season, but only 14% ending in shots, with only 6 goals scored. You compare that to Crystal Palace, who only had 252, but with a higher shot percentage and the same amount of goals scored. If our goal this year is to improve the amount of goals that we're scoring, the issue is not our pressing, it's more our final third quality. You then look at this graphic here, showing the high turnover shot conversion rates. At number 1 you've got Liverpool, with the highest conversion rate in all of the Premier League, with Arsenal being right in the middle, below the likes of Crystal Palace, West Ham and Aston Villa. That's where this left-hand side needs to improve, because when you've got Viktor Gyökeres and Bukayo Saka, if Arsenal can get a quality left-hand side as well, those turnovers will inevitably turn into goals. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of the social medias, the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today, as was what we learned from Arsenal to Villarreal 3. I'm trying not to make any harsh judgments, but Arsenal, you're not making it easy. So with Bilbao on Saturday, get the right result, play the right team, and give Arsenal fans a bit of excitement going into match day 1 at Old Trafford. My friends, I'll see you next time. Take care, and in a bit.